Game of Thrones Bud Light ad image, HBO. Game of Thrones fans are counting down the days until April 14th when the series returns to screens for the last time. Many fans had hoped to see a trailer released during Super Bowl 2019 but were left disappointed. However, a Bud Light advert featured a crossover with the HBO series. Game of Thrones creators have been keeping all details to do with Season 8 tightly under wraps. Not even the Super Bowl could convince them to give away any plot details as fans continued to wait for the April 14th release. The closest thing we got was a Bud Light advert with a humorous Game of Thrones twist. Bud Light X Game of Thrones Super Bowl commercial, Joust can be watched here. WHO is in the cast of Game of Thrones Season 8. Game of Thrones Bud Light ad image, HBO. Beer brand Bud Light, which is very popular in the US, have been running medieval-themed dilly-dilly commercials for a while now and took this opportunity to combine it with the well-known Game of Thrones aesthetic. The advert centers around a jousting tournament, reminiscent of the one in Season 1 of Game of Thrones. "It's a beautiful day for a joust," one of the characters says while drinking beer. The so-called Bud Knight appears and prepares for the contest. This is when the Game of Thrones element comes in. A familiar song from the series, The Rains of Castamere, which always signals when something bad is going to happen, is played as the second night approaches. Knight number 2 is none other than the Mountain aka Gregor Clegane, played by a Julius Bjornsson. WHO will die in Game of Thrones Season 8. Game of Thrones Bud Light ad, The Mountain. Image, HBO. Warning, the below contains spoilers for Game of Thrones Season 4. Fans will remember the iconic fight between Oberyn Martell, Pedro Pascal, and the freakishly giant mountain back in Season 4. Oberyn was killed and his skull crushed after initially getting the upper hand but still managed to poison the mountain. However, Maester Qyburn, Anton Lesser, performed a mysterious experiment and he has since been brought back to life as some sort of terrifying zombie. Naturally, the mountain defeats the Bud Knight and crushes his skull before one of Daenerys Targaryen's, Emilia Clarke, dragons flies overhead and breathes fire onto the crowd and the Game of Thrones theme song plays. Does this hint that the long-fabled Clegane Bowl will happen in Season 8? Why wasn't Bran in the Crypts of Winterfell trailer? Game of Thrones Bud Light ad image, HBO. HBO will air the first episode of Game of Thrones Season 8 on Sunday, April 14th for viewers in the USA and the UK. The episode will be simulcast on Sky Channel Sky Atlantic in the early hours of Monday, April 15th. Game of Thrones fans who don't want to stay up late, however, will be able to watch Season 8, Episode 1 the following evening on the same channel. Fans in the UK can also stream Game of Thrones Season 8 online live via the Sky Go app or Now TV. Shortly after each episode airs, they'll be available to watch online on demand via the same services. Game of Thrones Season 8 premieres on April 14th on HBO and Sky Atlantic.